20 times with 20 different mixes.
Okay.
Bring the bass down 2 dB. Okay, 1 more dB. Burn it, and each time you go, okay, that sounds a bit right. Whereas in here, I didn't really have to worry about that. I was actually quite shocked that I was able to get the sound that I got. I mean, with the first time. So I'm gonna be a little cautious with what I'm saying because I haven't played it on a lot of different systems. But playing it on the smallest speakers in here, it sounds like it translated really well. And sometimes you have a problem with that. Like if you have big, huge speakers and it's kicking out all this bass, you might not put a lot of bass in it. Because you hear so much bass anyway, but if you play on the smaller speakers, you'll hear the lack of bass.
Sure.
So it's cool to have as many different sound systems to compare and translate the mixes to, and see if they do translate well.
Okay. All right. So show us a bit of how you actually mixed. Give us a bit of on.
Okay, like I said, I mean this mix. I mean this is not really an arranged track, so everything is actually going. And as you can see right here, all this stuff is being pulled up, or even on the mixer, you saw the signals coming through the mixer, so this digital Sony mixer. So these aren't labeled, so I don't know what's on what, but okay, that might be a good place to start. I mean, this is I don't know, like a 16-bar intro or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what are the elements that we're working with?
Oh, you mean the sounds? Kicks and hi-hats and percussion, and bongos, trying to establish the mood of the track or give some little tension to it.
Sure. Now, when you say kick and bongos and that,
There's the kick.
Are you setting those sounds up in a way that are very traditional in the sense of a drum set, or are you doing it in do you have a different mind of how you set up your drums?
I don't really try to mimic an acoustic drum set environment. Like if you would record a drum set, you would have some cymbals here or whatever, and whatever. I don't really try to do that. I just try to. My background is all electronic anyway, so I don't really know how to do it. Like, and it basically just one way. So, I mean, usually, you would pan the kick to the center anyways, kick and bass, because you don't want to have issues with if you're playing a record, the needle jumping off the record because of polarity issues and stuff. But.
Right. Sure. So if you pan, explain that a bit though. If you pan your kick drum or your bass out of center, what are some of the problems that you would have?
So if you did have the kick in the right speaker, and if you try to play that on a vinyl on the turntable, the speaker sometimes jumps out of the groove because the needle likes to see the same amount of signal on both sides of the needle. And if that's not present, it jumps off. So it's always good. I mean, but if you're doing CDs, you don't have to worry about that at all.
Sure.
If you're duplicating CDs and you don't plan on people playing on a record.
Sure. Now, how come though the needle would jump out of the groove on something like this, where in comparison to 60s recordings, they would have all of the drums on the left and and the bass on the left, and then the voices are on the right. What's different?
I think it's the level. I think because the stuff that we record is really hot, and the signal is so hot that it pushes the signal. The needle out of the groove. Whereas back in the day, they didn't record everything as hot. I mean, they might have recorded it hot, but they didn't mix it down. Or when they're burning it, they don't burn it as hot. When I say burn, I mean like do the dub plate or do the master, the vinyl master. So,
okay.
But this is an educated guess. I did some reading up on it before and never done a ton of research on it, but I definitely learned by going and having my stuff mastered. I mean, the guy mastering the stuff for us would say, you have to be careful with bass and stuff. But people had to actually go back and have their stuff remastered, knowing that,
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Okay, so you start when you start the mix. Do you start with any element in particular? I mean,
depending on the track. I mean, this is. I'm trying to make this like a clubby track, so I wanted to start with the kick, and maybe, like I said, the bongos and the percussion. All right. Kind of set the mood, give it a little tension. Okay, what's coming? You're on the floor, dancing and, trying to see what the track is going to be about. Then you bring the intro, or this track is kind of centered around the piano a little bit, so that's it's kind of like the theme of the track, the motif, whatever of the track, and then I have some strings. I'm a string guy. I like to mess with strings and stuff. Sometimes it gets to be a bit too lighty, too, but it works for me. Like I said, I'll do this like 3 or 4 times until you get like until it feels right. That's basically what you're going for, is feel. You know, there ain't no right or wrong way to do it. I mean, with regards to mixing it down. I mean, people can sit there all day long. It doesn't matter who they are. I mean, they can be like the best producer on the planet. They can't tell you that your track that you're mixing down is wrong. It's all about artistic, you know, interpretation, and it's all this stuff is always subjective. Art is subjective like that. So. There's been people who go against totally what we just talked about with regards to bass and stuff. They do like to have these stuff panned all the way to the left or to the right. But like I said, they're not worried about vinyl issues or turntable issues and stuff. So it's a creative, like, open landscape. You can do whatever you want to do that makes this stuff sound good and interesting. And I think a lot of people do. They do stick to like, they're more influenced by people and scared to like think outside the box and do stuff different and kind of try to move the music forward. But am I trying to do that? Not really. I'm just trying to do a good track and good, solid, nice tracks and just stay consistent, basically.
So, because you make your records for the clubs, I assume that the length of the track is quite long. What's the length? What's the final running time?
This track was like 6:30, I think.
Is that what final running time you're looking to have on the record?
Maybe a little longer, because I'm going to do edits on this track and try to slowly build up the track, and then you'll have the climax, and then kind of bring it back down. But I can't do all that within 6 minutes and properly tell the story of the track. So yeah.
Okay, so what is the story of the track that you want to tell?
I don't know. I've never really thought of a clear shot like story, but I mean, like, or maybe the story was the wrong thing. Maybe how do you describe it? I forgot. I can't. The words right on the tip of my tongue.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And what is your process going to be of editing? Because I'm assuming that the way that you plan on editing is very similar to you doing an arrangement on the fly as a mix, but you're just putting it together so that it has structure, a beginning, a middle, and end, a breakdown, etc., etc. I mean, explain that a bit. How your process.
Like you said, I'll do it on the computer. I'll highlight certain sections of the song, and save those sections as individual regions. This is how I'll personally do it, individual regions. And then once I got all my regions like labeled, the 8-bar breakdown, the 16-bar string section, the whatever, I'll mix and match them and turn them around and mix them and see which one sounds the best. And maybe you have, okay, there's 8 bars in the original song of this kick and snare. Maybe I want 32 bars of this, so I'll just mess around with that and to make sure it sounds appropriate for the song.
And when you do that, is your final goal the feel of the song? So if you decide that you want to do 32 bars of an intro, is that based on is it going to be based mainly on your artistic feel, or is it going to be based on the end user, the DJ?
Well, I mean, because this is a clubby track, you want to make sure that, you know, it's for. You want to make the people dance. Obviously, that's what you're there for. That's what the music is there for, to make them dance. But at the same time, I'm not trying to make a track that's gonna. I'd rather the people come to the music